Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Hawks made a big move earlier this week in trading John Collins and ripping that Band-Aid off. They definitely didn't get better adding Rudy Gay. I don't know if he'll be on the roster next year. He'll probably be bought out. He only has a $6 million player option. I don't see him being on the roster. Maybe he is. Who knows? But it's about what path they're going to be on, right? Like, are we setting, or are we just shedding salary? Or are we trying to be competitive? And Adrian Wojnarowski made it very clear that Landry Field is still trying to wheel and deal, still trying to make moves. Everybody's on the table, so we can still expect some big moves to come in terms of trading guys like DeAndre Hunter, maybe even DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella. Maybe we make a big splash and trade our young guys for a bigger piece. But he's trying to make this roster more competitive right now. How do they do that? How do they do that? I see two ways. You shed salary and you bring in free agents, or you shed salary. But I think the best way to do it is by trading your young pieces for another kind of star. The problem with trading your young pieces now that John Collins is out, you might have to shed more salary and get rid of a guy like DeAndre Hunter. Where's the depth? Like we see these guys with big threes, the Suns last year, they had three really good guys. They even still had DeAndre Ayton, but they had no depth and they really couldn't compete with a team like the Nuggets. Is that the way to go though? Because if you trade all the young pieces, I mean, those guys are now like they're in your rotation now. So it's kind of that fine line, and it's just tough to see how the Hawks work this out.
I don't think it's a question. Listen, no NBA team plays 10-man rotations in the playoffs. And I know it's a long season. You need depth to get to that point. But right now, as it stands, the Hawks have a 10-man rotation that is formidable. We've got first-round picks coming off the bench. I think the obvious answer is to, package a couple, whether it's the young pieces, whether it's Clint Capella and, DeJounte Murray, or whatever package you can get. You've got to, maybe lose some bodies. I don't think free agency is the way to go because minutes are going to be hard to come by. And we just moved John Collins to hopefully see more of Jalen Johnson. We still want to see more of Onyeka Okongwu. Hopefully Clint Capella can be moved to make way for Onyeka in the starting lineup. AJ Griffin just had a historically great shooting year in his rookie campaign. He needs more minutes. We just drafted another two-way guard. We need to get bodies out. If we want to get better, this is not a championship caliber team. We can both agree that. If we want to get better, I think it's packaging a few of these bodies together to go and get a star, shed more salary by packaging some of those guys, opening up free agent space. I guess that could work, but you can't just add right away. I mean, there's just not enough minutes to go around.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's a combination of both, and maybe we're not searching for an all-star. Maybe we're searching for. I mean, I'm really interested in the Pascal Siakam thing. I don't know what the Raptors are trying to get. I've heard they're trying to get the mother load for him, and I understand. I mean, he's a legitimate all-star. I think it's going to be hard to get better by trading DeJounte Murray. Like, I don't see a trade. I think it's going to be hard. Unless you just really don't think those two fit well together. Which I thought, like, you watched the playoffs last year, I thought they looked well together. Now, there were definitely some growing pains, but sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes 2 years. I mean, just ask the Miami Heat. Like, they didn't even win at all their first year, and they had three superstars, three of the best players of all time. So sometimes you need to go through that. Coming up after the break, we are going to continue this conversation. Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. We are talking Hawks offseason and their upcoming moves after making the big trade with the Utah Jazz to send John Collins and his contract to Utah. We talked about so my big thing about the youth and everything is like, what if you package up these guys, like, I just don't know how much they get you. Like, obviously, I think Okongwu is a nice centerpiece to any kind of trade. You don't have a ton of picks to move, but you do have a little bit, a few that you could move. But those aren't exactly sexy trade pieces, given that you're going to be trying to compete and they're multiple years down the road and stuff like that. And some of them aren't even tradable because of the Siphon rule or Siphon rule, however you say it. Can't trade back-to-back first-round picks, and a lot of them went in the trade to get DeJounte Murray. I said you don't probably want to trade DeJounte Murray. I don't see them getting better by doing that. Clint Capella, maybe you trade him. He gets you a first-round pick. That's another trade asset. Maybe you could get something for DeAndre Hunter. Maybe. But I don't know. I mean, and then obviously AJ Griffin and Jalen Johnson are some good pieces. But once again, I mean, I think to get a good quality player to really make this team competitive, like you're going to have to trade away most or if not all of that to bring in anyone that's worthwhile that could make this roster competitive, especially since you're going to be losing a lot of depth.
I think the focus of moving John Collins was to open up cap space. We all agree that, to get his contract off the books and, to consequently, we're going to extend, hopefully, DeJounte Murray, Sadiq Bey, Onyeka Okongwu. Those are the next guys up for contract extensions. We didn't just give up all those draft assets. And I know, this regime traded for Sadiq Bey, 5 second-round picks. You can't just let that guy walk. And DeJounte Murray was the prior regime's decision, but we know that it was powered by the wrestlers who were still in charge. So, you got to think, priorities for this regime, this Hawks regime, is to extend those guys. And then at that point, you really have no cap flexibility as you currently stand, as the roster is currently constructed. If that's the case, we're talking about moving DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella. And I think Clint Capella, and I get the value of DeAndre Hunter. He's still, got a lot of potential. He's a two-way player. Wing, you can never have enough wings in today's NBA. But in terms of for a competitor today, Clint Capella is by far, in my opinion, the most tradable asset, the most desirable tradable asset, because he can come in and compete right now with a championship contender. Whereas DeAndre Hunter, I mean, the jury's still out. We believe in him. I'm tired of, every single offseason we're on, this is the season he's going to break out. This is the season he break out. Hopefully it's this season, but there's no guarantee. Clint Capella today is ready to contribute on a championship team. I think you move, and I know a deal can't be finalized until, August or September, whatever it is, but you still move them. You still move them. It's a lot of money coming off the books, and Onyeka Okongwu needs more minutes.
I just think I've gone through every scenario in my head over this all season to try to imagine, and I'm just hoping. But then again, you go look at what some of these superstars or star players, whatever you want to call them, Bradley Beal and stuff, and all they've gotten in return is second round picks and some garbage. So if that trade's out there, more power to you. I mean, we got DeJounte Murray. We had to trade, 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks? I mean, if that trade's out there for someone like Bradley Beal or something, why didn't the Hawks get it? I know we talked about the Travis Schlenk thing, but if that trade's out there, I'm a little more confident. I'm just not sure another deal like that is out there because I just think that was some collusion or something because that was unbelievably stupid. Coming up after the break, we're going to wrap up this show with some Desmond Ridder talk from Grady Jarrett.